Guys, this is Game Fights. I'm here with Jacob, Joe, Kieran and Tim. Let's start off with the category of what is the best game plot twist ever. Let's start with Jacob. Tell us your choice and what you think.
Well, my choice was BioShock Infinite, released in 2013. Fantastic game. Third in the trilogy of BioShock games. Chose it for the twist at the end because it's incredible, really. It's
Yeah.
Oh, is that it?
Is that it? Is it incredible or?
Everybody started laughing at me. So basically,
Nobody. Carry on.
it's really good because it's what with plot twists they tend to be quite contrived. They tend to be quite typical. However, it was complex enough and it was deep enough to be interesting. However, it was not overly complex in such a manner that it came off as pretentious, and then it came off as, ridiculous. It seemed down to earth. You get me.
Okay,
You get what I'm saying.
Yeah.
That you can understand it. That you can get your head around it.
Okay then. Right, Joe. What's your pick?
My favourite plot twist in video games is from a different video game in the same series, BioShock 1, because the entire nature of the plot twist revolves around something that is usually just a normal thing in games, which is you being asked to do something by an objective giver, and it takes that and it uses it in a very unique way to strengthen the plot beyond anything anyone expected from a game like BioShock 1. And I think it's mostly effective because you wouldn't see it coming, because it's just something you'd normally accept from a video game.
Okay. Kieran?
I've chosen Spec Ops Line.
Okay.
What's that about?
Well, I'll tell you.
You tell us.
It's about, the main twist is a guy goes around, he villainizes a guy, and then he finds out he was guy committed suicide, and he kind of started going crazy with some radio talk, and he finds out he was being the big old evil bastard in the end.
Okay.
And it's quite I don't think I've ever seen anything like that in gaming, and it's exploring a deep issue about someone trying to keep their morals intact when the whole situation's kind of fucked up.
Okay. Tim?
I chose Metal Gear Solid 2 for mine, because it starts off the game as you'd expect, with you playing as Solid Snake, and then as you get past the first
Spoiler alert.
chapter,
I should have said spoiler alert, by the way. At the beginning of this.
Who would have guessed that there'd be spoilers?
Yeah.
Brilliant.
It's a bit late now, but carry on.
and then it rolls you straight into the next chapter where you're playing as some random blonde-haired whiny child for the rest of the film.
Best
Film?
Oh.
Best plot.
I know it's cinematic, but it's not.
Best plot twist.
Yeah.
Okay then, right.
It got me.
Starting with Jacob. Would you like to continue saying why yours is the best and try and debunk each somebody else's?
You want me to continue?
Continue, but when you stop speaking, whoever can chip in, just don't interrupt.
So, because I finished the game
I
today.
disagree with you there.
All right, fair enough. Carry on. Go on.
Complex rebuttal.
How do you pause cutscenes? Okay, so basically, right? Because it turns out that the girl Elizabeth that you're with for the entirety of the game never actually existed.
Dun dun dun.
Is that
And
what happened?
Yeah,
Shh, Joe.
I read like 3 articles on it. Right?
I thought.
She never existed because your daughter Anna was Elizabeth, but Anna can't be born because you kill yourself at the end of the game, because otherwise you become Comstock.
That's why she fades away at the end. Because she never existed.
Yeah,
I thought she
ceases
drowns
to
you at
exist
the end.
because she drowns
But
you.
if she hadn't existed, he wouldn't have killed himself, would he?
Okay, this isn't what we're talking about
It's
here,
a
man.
paradox, please.
So, well,
It's a
it's
paradox.
not
It's
destroyed.
It's never
It's a
gonna
time
end.
paradox. It uses it as a plot perspective.
You know what, Dom? You wanted this to be long.
Debunk each other's, man. Just don't talk about
Alright,
the paradox.
Okay.
Tim,
Jacob, you're
you're
wrong.
fucking stupid, right? Here's why. Because
Because
Raiden,
you've never played.
Okay.
Take it in
sucks.
turns, you bastards. Go.
Raiden sucks. Metal Gear sucks because, right?
Okay.
Raiden, dumb character, only good in one game, right? They lied to you on the box art. They lied to you at the start of the game, and I hate you.
One sec. All right, I'm gonna
know.
defend Tim's opinion for
I
a
was
second here.
disappointed with it, man. I was like,
Yeah.
oh.
I'm gonna defend Tim's opinion here. That's one of the reasons why it's a good plot twist, because it takes it beyond the actual video game. Takes it
Does
into
it
the
do some-
marketing and
does
the
it do some
production of the
twisting?
video game.
It's not a plot twist.
Fools
that's
you
so
from the
loud.
beginning.
It does cut deep.
Kieran,
Yeah,
I
They're
was
like, this is just the beginning.
my
And then they
memory.
switch you to the second chapter and you're playing as some random
Okay,
character.
well,
you've never met
I'm
before.
gonna input here. Does anyone have anything? Kieran, do you have anything to add to yours, or anything that you want to say about anybody else's? Because you haven't really said much.
Can you just, Kieran, can you remember what mission it was where you actually find
Yeah,
this out?
have you
Fuck off.
by any chance ever played Spec Ops: The Line? Is that
I haven't actually. No.
anyway?
You're gonna have to cut that out there, though.
I'm gonna refute Jacob's one. All right.
That's fine, yeah.
The one in the plot twist in Bioshock 1 is so much better because it's there, it's present the entire game. There's nothing leading you to believe that you are in fact Father Comstock yourself in Bioshock Infinite, and the entire plot twist is completely phoned in just for the sake of having a plot twist because Bioshock 1 had one.
Actually,
They
I
just
think
wanted
you'll
to
find
hold
the
it up as
twist
a franchise.
You might think lead up to that because at the start of the game you see the two twins, can't pronounce the last name, begins with a T, and you see them and they have a board, a chalkboard, and they flip a coin. It's heads or tails, right? Every single one is head. You can just like, fuck, that's dumb, and then you carry on, right? That's because Booker has to go through the game. He has to go through the game. He has to go and save Elizabeth. He's done it so many times, over and over again, and every time because it's a chance. It's not a choice. It's heads every time. That's one thing. Additionally, it's because he doesn't get baptized at the beginning. That's why the events happen. If he chooses to get the baptism, then he becomes Father Comstock. And if you go back, if you backtrack all the way through, there's so many different little hints and things that lead up to it. You can't.
Yeah, sure. All right. Personally,
Jesus.
All right. Personally, I
Okay,
think it's more effective.
Joe, why is yours better than Infinite?
I just fucking said.
I think he was
Like,
getting to that before you interrupted.
No.
Yeah,
Wow,
before,
Dom, why are you being so rude?
Before you fucking asked, all right?
Fuck's
Do you need to
sake.
moderate this? Do you want to be all right?
You know
Hitler
what?
2.0 podcast
Uh,
Hitler.
I'm out.
Okay.
I'm done.
Anyway, as I was saying before, I was so rudely interrupted. Cunt. The I've lost my train of
Shouldn't
thought.
as old as you can swear.
Anyway,
Yeah.
it's more effective in Bioshock because it takes a concept that's normally accepted in video games. There's nothing normally accepted about video games where you start the game and the game goes through kind of just perfectly normal the entire time with like tiny hints, you know, people being crappy with coin flips. That's not how coin flips work, mate. That's not probability. You know how video games work, dude? People are like,
I've
Listen,
never played a video game.
listen, mate.
No.
Would you kindly go
Kieran
down
Curran.
here, kill a bunch of mutants, and then come back and then save my family for me? Would you kindly? It brings it all back together. It's all wrapped in a neat bow. It's effective because it takes a original game concept that's in every video game ever, and it turns it on its head. Nothing about that in Bioshock
Okay,
Infinite.
I'm going to give
it's a terrible
everybody
game.
about 20 seconds each just to say final thoughts, why yours is the
Final
best again,
thoughts?
and final thoughts, and
Cool, yeah.
why yours is better than everyone else's, and why everyone else's is, you know, trashed here. So
He's rushing this
so
along
starting
instantly,
with
guys.
Jacob.
You got somewhere to be, Dom?
In conclusion, mine's the best because it leads you on the whole game. It gives you hints, teases you, makes you think, and I like that.
Okay,
You're a bitch.
Joe.
Mine's better because fuck you, Jacob, and it's
Fair.
it's classic, man. You can't beat Bioshock 1, man.
Okay, Kieran.
Because it's such a large impact, you can't really see it coming.
Yeah, you're
It's
really
fucking-
surprised by that one, aren't you?
Twist.
Did you ever?
Okay, Tim.
It's a very,
Remember when
very
you
big twist.
played the
Okay.
game?
Whereas Kieran
I
played
like to take the point that Joe made earlier, is that it leads you up to thinking you're going to be playing as the protagonist from the first game, from marketing to the beginning of the game, and then it just drops it on you. Just
Okay.
drops it
Turn,
on you.
it turns,
changes the
turns your
character.
life whole upside
Okay,
down,
yep.
not
right.
just the video game.
I think I've heard enough here. Kieran, I really didn't hear enough from you at all. I wonder why.
Yeah.
Tim,
You're getting
Tim,
dumped off,
Tim,
yeah.
you made some really good points, but you didn't really speak much. You didn't really put much input in. You've said some good points, but not as much as Joe. So this is a Joe and Jacob race.
Yeah, Tim,
this
you
is a
suck,
Bioshock.
As
by the
per
way.
usual.
This is a Bioshock trilogy race here. And
Objection.
No,
Duology,
Sam did say two.
Bioshock 2 doesn't exist.
Right. I agree a lot with each of your points, and you may have made really compelling arguments. But I've got to say, in the end, Joe made the point that it took a convention and it did spin it on its head. And to be honest, plot twist wise, he made an argument that it is, as a plot twist, like it is more impactful, and it is, to be honest, in his eyes, a lot more original and a lot better. So I'm gonna have to give this one to Joe.
Okay, you're wrong, but I respect that. That's fine.
Okay, that's one for Joe in that
Yeah,
one,
man.
boys.
Best
Right, Kieran,
debater.
here's one you can actually.
Shocking. Alright.
Okay, right. This one
Wait, what are
is
we talking
best
about?
zombie game.
Oh, hell yeah.
And
Who's
we're
first?
going to start with Joe now. Joe.
Dying Light, because... Oh, wait, do we have to say why, or do we just say our name?
Eh?
Dying Light.
fucking
Mine's
go.
Dying Light.
No, to say why. Tell us why. Give us an
Oh,
opening.
because it takes the real difference between humans and zombies is the fact, like, as a movie convention, as a convention in zombie-based media, is that humans are smarter and humans are faster than zombies, and this is how we get our advantage over them. Dying Light takes that concept and puts it into the game, makes it almost the entire game thing, you know? Makes it the concept behind all of the movement, all of the combat, and I think it does it very effectively and ends up being one of the best zombie games ever.
Okay, Kieran.
I've chosen Dead Rising 2. It's fucking
played this one?
hilarious. I have actually, yeah. It's hilarious. You can basically make anything in the game, anything you pick up, turn it and craft it together and make weapons out of it, and it makes it a lot of fucking fun. There's a lot of replay value to it. It's fun just chopping up zombies endlessly. It's got really good mechanics, and I think story's okay. But I think it's the mechanics and a hell of a lot of replay value, and a large amount of fun, which makes it the best zombie game.
Okay, Jake. No, it's Tim next. Tim.
I chose Left 4 Dead 2 as the best zombies game because of although it does have quite a lot of simplistic features, they opened that up when they released the modding tools to players, which allows players to build exactly what they wanted to play. It allowed them to expand upon their experience in the game, giving you many different ways to play the game and many different maps and modes and very creative ways to enjoy the game long after it's been released.
Okay, Jacob.
The Walking Dead, a Telltale game series, is the best video game ever made because
Okay, that's not what we disputed.
Because-
Because it made you cry.
Yeah, but it's because it's an interactive movie, which are renowned for being utter garbage in every way. However, this one is not, because although minimal gameplay at all, you get the
Barely
choices.
fucking game.
Every dialogue option feels impactful, even if it isn't. It feels impactful. There's so many different outcomes. There's so many different stories, so many different things that can happen that you can tell. The duo of Clementine and Lee is one of my favorite in video games, and it's the best sort of pseudo father-daughter duo, even though they're not really.
Nice. Good job.
You know? And I can't think of any game that's done it better. No zombie game has done a pseudo father-daughter relationship better. Fuck you,
Okay.
The Last of Us.
All right then. Right. Right then. Whoever wants to start, just
Alright,
saying why yours is better than the others. Then go ahead.
I'll jump in.
All right.
I think out of those games, first of all, Walking Dead is barely a fucking game. It's a fucking point-and-click adventure. That is not a game.
Is that a game?
It's
It's a
not
video
fucking-
game. It's on Steam. You can
Sure.
buy it. Goes in my game
Yours-
library.
Fucking documentaries are on
Or in
Steam,
the software
Jacob.
category, so.
Oh yeah, they do have
So
documents.
I think yours is like fucking disqualified by bloody default. I think Dying Light is a good game, but it's a bit clunky. The story is a bit contrived. Just fucking goes nowhere, and the mechanics get a bit repeatable. Parkour, yeah, sure, it's fun, but we've all played fucking
Mechanics
Assassin's
repeatable.
Creed. Left 4 Dead. Tim's entire point was that mods are good. Yeah, mods
They are an
every,
integral part of the
every game. Yeah, but every game can be mod if you really want to. Except Walking Dead isn't a bloody game.
Well, Tim, what do you want to?
And I think
Okay, Kieran, you've kind of ripped into everyone there. Does anyone want to respond to Kieran?
I just got roasted, man. I
Who
don't
wants
know
to go
if I can.
first? I think is
I
a.
don't even remember what Kieran chose.
Yeah.
Dead
Dead
Rising
Rising
2.
2. made
Yeah.
fun of Dying Light for repetitive mechanics, and then proceeded to pick Dead Rising 2, which is renowned for being a mash X in Zombie Horde to win the video
Oh, but
game.
it was so
One
much
thing
fun.
I
'cause
would
you
like to say about Dying Light is Dying Light I thought was it was the developers' way of taking the failed zombie game franchise they had, which was Dead Island. And,
Dead Island wasn't a failure. It sold very well. I'm just
but
saying.
it was
fucking
so
doesn't stop it,
bad.
shit.
I mean,
I mean,
Why didn't you pick?
the first Titanfall sold games. It was bad though.
the second Titanfall was great though, and
Yeah,
so
but-
Dead Island follows the same mechanic. Kind of, Dead Island sucked, sold a lot. Dying Light didn't suck and was actually really good, and also sold.
But
a
they
lot, so it's a
released
bonus.
They released a second Dead Island, and they
released a
DLC
third
for it,
Dead
and they were
Island.
all
They released a
bad.
fourth Island, actually. There was 4 of them.
There's
Jesus.
four of them.
Oh.
I'm not defending.
All
I
they
didn't
did
argue
for
for
Dying
Dead
Light
Island
was
being
took
good. I
Dead
argued
Island
for
and
Dying Light
added
being
free
good. Are you
running.
straw manning me? Are you imparting logical fallacies?
Okay,
upon
right.
me, friend?
Jacob,
There was nothing really new
Hey.
there other than the free running.
Jacob, what do you
Oh,
think?
I'm
What
sorry.
does The Walking Dead have that the other 3 games don't?
Infinitely better, narrative than all of them. Which, to be fair, is all it has. But it does it
Yeah, those mechanics are really fucking intense, aren't
so
they?
incredibly well. And I think if the only argument that you have is that it's not a video game, then what is yours? It's just a generic.
I don't
Yours
even feel
isn't a
like the
video game. I
characters.
could just mash the same button on my keyboard over and over again and get the same effect.
I don't
Don't
feel
care
like
about
the
any of the-
storytelling or the character relation was really that good. I feel like it was just overhyped by all of the Walking Dead fans.
I think it
Man.
was trying to like pull some strings. Sure, it was good, but like you could have just fucking watched a good TV show instead. Like, what was the point?
Well, you couldn't watch The Walking Dead then. Hey.
Hey, Lamar.
Hey.
All right then.
Anyway, I'm gonna rip into Dead Rising 2 real quick here
Oh,
because
you're going for
Dead
that.
Rising 2 is absolute trash, and here's why.
Go on.
It takes zombie mechanics that we all know and love, like, the ability to kill zombies, and then makes them the most annoying, boring, button mashy things on the planet. It also takes mechanics like having followers and makes them the most annoying, brain dead, frustrating, made me want to kill myself every time I saw another human in that game, which humans are meant to be a source of relief, because the AI was just so brain dead and none of them were capable of looking after themselves in any way. Whereas in games like Dying Light and The Walking Dead, you can actually care about the other characters because they aren't time based. You have to keep these people alive objectives when they just tend to. It's the ability of it's the same as trying to stop a dog from walking into fire if a dog was really attracted to fire, because they just walk into zombies and they just get bitten and then they don't do anything
The
about it.
fun in fucking Dead Rising 2 was finding these components all over the map and creating some really bloody fun weapons and finding new ways to go around killing zombies, and it was just hilarious. And it was
Hey,
a
you
lot
know
of fun
what?
going
You
around
do
doing
that
that.
in Dying Light as well, but Dying Light wasn't bogged down by needless time constraints and absolutely just still the most frustrating
Does
AI on the
anybody
planet.
have anything they want to say, or should we go to final thoughts?
Yeah, but I
You're
think we're
rushing
running
this
out
along,
of
aren't you,
time for
Dom? You
this
got
one.
somewhere to be.
I've got nowhere to be. I'm just, Tim, do you have anything
No.
to say, Tim, about before we go to final thoughts? You haven't let Tim. He hasn't really given us that much. So Tim's given the least out of everyone. So Tim, why is Left 4 Dead 2 the best game?
I'm good.
I don't feel like you're so invested
I
in
mean,
it.
let's be honest. All it's got is the mods and the co-op to it, man. It wasn't particularly an inventive game. You can come up with a lot. Really.
Okay, let's go to final thoughts.
Yeah.
There's not that many good zombie
Jacob,
games.
why is yours the best? And quickly, just sum it up.
Well, I should have mentioned season 1, by the way, not the other ones. And well, mine's the best for the aforementioned reasons. Is the fact that it's the best interactive movie I've ever played, and I genuinely cared about all of the characters in that game, and I was excited to see where they went. Not very far, apparently, because the next series sucked. But
Can I just one question? Are you a fan of the Walking Dead TV series?
never seen it. Oh no, I have. Don't like it.
Yeah.
Okay, Joe.
I still think Dying Light is the best because, obviously, again, aforementioned reasons. It takes all the mechanics that I like about other video games, puts them into one, adds zombies, makes the game infinitely more fun, and I've played it for hundreds of hours by this point. That's
Okay.
it.
Kieran,
That's all I
Actually played.
why is Dead Rising 2 the best?
Dead Rising 2 is the best because it has shit ton of replay value. It is a really, really fun co-op game. You go around, piss around with your friends.
That is when the
Especially-
co-op works.
Friend, by the way, not friends.
Yeah, one friend. Only.
Let him
You-
finish.
you-
Let him finish.
Yeah, what I fucking mean.
Let him finish. Is that it, Kieran?
And
or-
not kind of not near infinite, but fucking there's a shit ton of combinations you can do, and it is a lot of fun going around, pissing around, killing zombies in fucking crazy ways.
Tim?
Oh, we've been over this, man. All it's got to co-op.
Okay, right. Okay, right. Right. After thinking
I
about it,
regret my
after
choice,
thinking
honestly.
about it, after thinking
That's
about
a
it,
man defeated.
after thinking about it, Tim, you kind of destroyed your own chance in this one.
So you're giving it to me
No, sadly not.
as a consolation gift, man.
Hey, his self-defeatism
Jacob-
encapsulates the zombie genre.
Jacob, I
perfectly.
understand
It's
why you
hopeless.
picked the choice,
Pick the choice.
but I understand why you chose it. I understand why, and you've made a good point of why you chose it. But you just kept saying I'm invested in the characters, and it was the best story yet. You didn't give as much depth as Kieran and Joe into your argument. I'm sorry.
I
But
can do.
In fairness,
Actually, no, it's
it's too late now. It's too late now,
Kieran
Jacob.
did just repeat the fact that you can make weapons. and
Kieran-
that
It's
was
fucking
it.
shit ton of fun.
Kieran,
But it-
Kieran,
play
no,
on
Kieran,
console.
I'll address that. Kieran, you did just constantly say, "Oh my God, it was tons of fun" over and over again. So
It was tons of fun.
I'm going. The person who once again gave the most in-depth argument, as well as putting down everybody else's, the best was Joe. So Joe's won this
Mine
one
was
as well.
better the first
I
time.
feel like
I'm
Joe's the only
basically
one
the
prepared
number
for
one
this.
debater 2017.
You're the
I mean,
master
I feel like
debater.
you might have been the only person to
actually like the zombie game that I had to fight for, yeah.
Kieran loves Dead Rising. Oh, Kieran is Kieran.
Yeah, but
I
Kieran's
love
a
Dead Rising too.
dick and no one likes him, so what's the
Oh
point?
yeah, piss
I mean,
off.
didn't
Oh,
even win the
yeah.
debate. I mean,
Okay,
would you-
okay. Right,
Huh?
this one is going. This one is my favourite one.
I
What
forgot my
game
pick.
could be
Yes, what-
improved with a horror element?
Okay.
And we're going to start with Kieran on Portal 2. How could Portal 2 be improved by adding a horror element, Kieran?
Okay. Portal 2 is a really fucking good game. We can all agree that
Yeah.
Portal 2
Yeah.
is a
It's
really,
really enjoyable,
really,
Kieran.
really good game.
Yeah.
tons
Not
of
as good
fun.
as Portal 1.
Oh, piss off.
Yeah. Really enjoyable, man. Tons of fun.
Yeah.
Can you make loads of weapons?
Now-
as well? Nearly
Piss
infinite
off.
amounts.
Oh, listen, just get on
Piss off.
with it.
Just let him speak. Let the man
Let
speak.
me do it.
You're kicking him while he's down here, you know? He did just lose to me, so we might as well be nice to him.
Okay. The puzzles, they're not like they're not. We'll agree they're not the most crazy difficult, but the story, and the kind of interactions between with GLaDOS and the silent protagonist, bloody hilarious. And I think adding a very large amount of suspense into that whole situation would be kind of intriguing, and kind of trying to fight for your life, solving the puzzles, and while being scared shitless would be a fun mix.
Okay, next up we have Tim with Skyrim.
Tim
You
Spank.
see, Skyrim's quite, it's like a critically acclaimed adventure game. You design, you make your character, and then you go out into the world, and you got your chosen combat style and how you want to play the game.
Yes,
You
Tim,
get
this is
deep
Skyrim,
into
yeah.
your character, but then trying to make these decisions with such an intense fear in the back of your mind at what might happen as a result of your
Kind of
actions,
bold,
where your choices might take you, what you may have to face in your future, really puts a real weight on your choices. It'd make a lot of your choices a lot more impactful than maybe in standard Skyrim game.
Okay.
Cool.
Jacob, yours was Deus Ex Human Revolution. Sorry.
Horror games suck, right? And in addition to that, the best horror games, right? Silent Hill 2, the other one, Alien Isolation,
Silent
stuff
Hill
like that,
3.
right? And that's because what they do is they create a sense of tension. And the thing is that's because they're horror games, right? The problem with that is that there aren't a lot of games that create such a sense of tension that aren't horror games. However, with that being said, I believe that if you dropped the kind of cyberpunky aspect, just not dropped it, lowered it a bit, toned it down, made everything a bit darker, a bit bleaker, go to the undercity of Deus Ex Human Revolution, go below the buildings, and add some sort of paranormal effect, maybe just somebody chasing you, maybe you're a normal guy, some cyborgs after you. That's pretty scary, right? change it up, reverse it, put a different view on Deus Ex Human Revolution. I believe that it create a sense of tension that'll be unmatched among video games, and that's why I think it would be a
Isn't that
fantastic
literally just Cyberpunk?
Hmm?
Isn't that literally what just CD Projekt Red are planning to do with Cyberpunk?
Okay.
That's been announced. Nobody
Maybe
cares.
Cyberpunk
Maybe.
is going to be one of the best
Joe?
games of all
Alright.
time.
Joe,
Yeah.
you picked the original Thief.
The original Thief, yeah. Okay, the reasoning behind that is Thief on its own is a game where you go around houses and you steal stuff. It's a concept that's used in horror games a lot, where you have to, say, in Slender, classic game, you have to go around the woods taking pieces of paper off of trees, and then Slender gets more difficult to avoid. And the game is already tense because you spend most of your time in the darkness as a way to avoid having the guards see you. You already have to sneak around, and you already have to try and fight your way through guards, mainly not letting them see you because they're a massive threat, and if they call for their friends, you're dead. That's basically the main concept behind Thief. Now, if you add monsters to that, like there are some monsters in Thief, but they aren't scary. If you add monsters, if you add using the darkness and the light, the actual lighting system, which it already uses for a way of avoiding monsters, or a way of killing monsters, or a way of actually having monsters sneak up on and kill you, I think this already tense, fantastic game could become even more tense, and it could take it to the next level of actual stealth gameplay.
Okay. Right, who wants to go first on?
I think I want to go first and say that if you added scares to Portal 2, it would lose all of its charm, and it would just suck.
Yeah.
The main part of it is comedy, and it's difficult to laugh when you're shitting yourself. That would even say if
I
Valve would
think
actually manage to make a scary game, which they've failed to do so far, despite their efforts.
I think the dry wit that could be added, along with the sense of kind of tension while you're trying to while you've been backed into corner trying to solve puzzles, and maybe just trying to run away from something, along with the dry wit, like in the respites between, could really make a kind of amazing experience that you wouldn't be able to find.
So let's say you're watching a horror movie, and
Yeah.
then some plucky British robot comes in with some sort of quip. That would ruin the tension somewhat, wouldn't
Yeah,
it?
but a movie's an hour and a half long. You've got 8-10 hours to play with. You're
Not
not.
Portal 2.
I think the tension that you want in a horror game would be entirely lost on someone if, one, the tension is constantly being broken by smart robots yelling at you, or it would, like, the actual, the jokes would be lost because people wouldn't be paying attention because they'd be scared. I don't think it would work as a combination. Comedy and horror haven't really gone well together in the kind of classic way both of those are used. Like Cabin in the Woods is effective as a comedy horror because it takes it in a different direction, but I doubt Portal 2 would be able to be taken in a different direction the same way.
I just don't think you're right. I don't know.
Okay, Kieran, why would Thief not make a good horror game?
I've never played Thief. So
You heard what
I'm gonna go on the attack.
you heard what he said about Thief. What
I have.
as a concept.
Hang on,
Okay.
hang on. Just you're on a gaming podcast, Kieran, and you haven't really played that many games, have you? Really?
I've only ever
Hasn't played Spec Ops.
I've only played 2 games.
I
Portal
doubt
2
you've even
League of
played Dead
Legends.
Rising.
I'm playing a video game right now.
Okay,
I'm
right.
playing Charles
Tim,
Fusion.
right, Tim, we haven't come to you yet. Tim, what would change in Skyrim other than the tone? What would you change to make it into a horror game? Or give it a horror element? What would the horror element bring to your experience of playing Skyrim?
I mean, I always find just by playing a horror game, you just by knowing that the game is a horror genre, you're already set on edge a little bit when you start playing it. You're already expecting things to jump out at you, or
Yeah.
things to come out of a shadow and sort of spook you. So
Yeah.
I think just the atmosphere in the game it would add, and then just having these things almost in a Resident Evil kind of theme of things just looking quite normal, and then all of a sudden outbursts this grotesque creature.
So you'd
From-
have so it would be Skyrim normally, no changes to narrative or anything. It would be Skyrim.
Not so much, no.
but with a kind of like darker tone.
A darker
Wouldn't
Darker,
tone.
more
Wouldn't you
horror
run into the
looming
problem? Wouldn't
across
you run
it.
into the problem? It's a free roaming
got-
game. You get scared of something, you just piss off. Like,
Yeah, but
and then
always-
and that just
you
kind
always
of
follow
breaks
you,
it.
Kieran.
Like, you
Alright,
just fucking fast travel out of there. And like,
He-
what's the point?
Here's my problem
Well-
with it. All right, one of the stronger points of Skyrim is its set pieces and the world that you're in. It's vast. It looks good. It sounds good. Everything about it is fantastic. You wouldn't be able to have the pros of Skyrim and the pros of a horror game without separating them in some way. Like, you can't have a horror game where you spend your entire time in a completely open field where you can see everything and there's butterflies flying around and everything looks nice. It wouldn't work. You can't get jump scared from an open field. Otherwise, people would just be like, "Well, that's complete bullshit," and then they'd stop playing.
Pretty concise.
Do you have anything to say about that, Tim?
That was a resounding no.
Get styled upon, dude.
Okay, right. I haven't really heard anybody. We've heard stuff against Portal 2 and Skyrim so far. Jacob, do you have anything to say against Thief? Or Tim? Or
I think
Tim.
it's a really solid choice, actually, to be fair. But I think the
Why
main
is yours better?
mine is better because Thief's already pretty tense, right? I think adding any sort of jump scare or superly out of the ordinary paranormal activity would sort of ruin it. It would ruin the charm. It would ruin because the whole idea of Thief is that you go around and you steal shit, right? That's the idea. You're not a good person. You're doing stuff because you want to do it and that you need to do it. But that's the point. Whereas the point of Deus Ex, I played it 3 years ago. I don't remember the point of Deus Ex. What were you doing in Deus Ex Human Revolution?
You were starting a human revolution.
Oh yeah. So
Yeah.
basically,
No,
right?
you weren't. That's a
Yeah,
meme.
yeah.
You're on the underground. You're down there. You're on the ground. You're just like, I don't know what's going on.
So
I don't know what's going
you're
on.
keeping the
These
game.
cyborgs
Hmm.
are coming after me, and I'm in the dark, and I don't know what to do. Scary.
Okay.
Thief.
Ooh,
No.
spook.
Alright.
Thief
I'm gonna
bad.
Okay.
trash Human Revolution for a second here. The entire point of Human Revolution is like the things that make Deus Ex good as a franchise on its own is its political commentary and it's the way it makes light of issues that are in the current world like now, like the new one, Mankind Divided, obviously,
Yeah.
does like a thinly veiled race issue kind of thing, and it's a lot of it is that there's not really any space for intelligent commentary on current issues in a horror game.
Okay, right. Final thoughts then. Jacob.
Alright.
Kieran, you can start then, Kieran.
I want to go back out to bat for Portal 2 because I think the idea of you being backed into a corner, being scared shitless while trying to solve problems and kind of run away would work really, really well. And as you go from level to level to level to level, it could create something like in most horror games. You got kind of some shitty ass puzzle to try and solve the runaway. But with Portal 2, there's some genuine thought having to go in this all while on a clock while being scared and in terribly tense situations would make a really, really fucking good game.
Thing is, though, when you're in Portal and you're backed into a corner, you could just shoot a portal behind you,
You've had your time.
and then you're out of the
You've
corner.
had your
lads.
time. Tim,
He's disqualified.
You're in
Tim-
fucking closed rooms. That's not how this.
Tim,
This isn't Skyrim when you can fucking fast travel
No.
wherever you want. You're in a closed room.
Tim-
You're not getting away.
Tim, 15 seconds to defend Skyrim.
I mean, I feel that the point Joe made earlier is standing in the middle of a field and feeling like nothing can hurt you because you can see everything that's going at you. But you tend not to be looking at maybe the ground or straight up in the sky when you're standing in a field. You won't be watching at every angle. There is always some way something could come out of the ground at you. Something could fly down, swoop down, try and attack you. You're not always
There's
going to
only
be
so many ways
aware
it
of
could be done. It'd be pretty
everything.
fucking like samey after a
Stop
while.
arguing with people's
100
final
out.
comments, Kieran.
But then also this is if you go into the whole supernatural horror, you could have things manifest out of nowhere seemingly.
Okay. Jacob? Final thoughts?
Yeah. You just, get it on the underground, change the entire dynamic of the game, make it less of a cover shooter, more of a kind of explore them up, kind of sort of like Amnesia, where you're just kind of trying to escape something on the
So
down
make
low.
it not Deus Ex Human Revolution.
But in the same setting as Deus Ex Revolution, keep the
Arguing with people's
aesthetic.
final thoughts,
Keep the control
Kieran.
scheme as well, yeah.
Keep the aesthetic, Kieran.
Okay, right.
Mm-hmm.
Joe, this time, mate. The thing is,
First,
you already
Steve?
said that it was a tense game, and like I don't think you kind of said yourself like it was already established as a tense game, and I don't think it would really change it that much. And when you were about the combat in the light and the dark, all I could think was Alan Wake, and I was like, well,
Alan Wake's a fantastic horror game.
it is, but you're copying it. You're taking
It's
it.
already
from
Well,
the-
no,
out.
because
from the-
Thief came out like 15 years before that, and it used the same lighting, like using light to your advantage as a mechanic. But you, as an inverse of Alan Wake, use the darkness to your advantage because that way
Ah.
guards can't see you.
Well, I don't know. This time you weren't as strong. Jacob, I like what you said. You made a really good point about the underground and the fact that it would be really interesting to explore that, especially with like a cyborg following you.
Less
Um,
orange.
Yeah, less
That's
orange.
orange,
Yeah. Kieran, you didn't really talk about like the amount of dark undertone there already is in the game and how that could have been expanded on. You know, the rap man and all that kind of stuff. And
Oh, I have some creepy shit though.
and yeah, it's creepy shit. Tim, I feel you had so much to work with, and you did put some good points in, but you had so much you could have talked about, and you didn't. So I really like. To be honest, I'd play a horror Skyrim in a second, but you just didn't give me enough there. So it's between.
Also, you didn't use dungeons. The game is
Yeah.
full of dark, dank dungeons, but the problem in Skyrim is that they aren't dark or dank. What you could have done is made them actually
They're
dark,
pretty
and they're full of zombies because they are already full of zombies.
Yeah, okay. This one
You
is
could
this
have
one
spoke about that, but instead
this
you
one
spoke about fields.
is between
Fuck up.
Jacob. Is again between Jacob and Kieran.
Is it?
Oh, been kicked in the
So-
face.
I
He just
feel.
doesn't want to
I
have me.
feel. Kieran, I feel that what you gave was really good, and I would play that game. And you gave a really strong argument to why it would be, you know, sitting like trying to solve puzzles while in a horror environment.
But
Jacob, yours was also very good, but I feel as if because the question was horror element to a game, when you were on about the cyborg chasing you and everything, it is still Deus Ex, but I feel like it would kind of ruin what like Joe said, like all of the stuff that Deus Ex had. So I'm giving this one to Kieran.
hey, Lamau. Best
Nah.
answer,
I
US.
personally think that the Portal argument was actually really weak, and like you
Mine?
didn't delve into any of the
He didn't delve in.
mechanics
He
and
didn't
how they
delve. He
can be
didn't delve
used
into it,
for
but he didn't delve into it as much as he could have. But it was still
Who's?
Kieran's. It was. It was.
Oh.
To be honest, that was. It was. It was really close between Deus Ex and Portal 2, but
because everyone else went into like detail on how the game that already exists can be used for horror potentially. Like Jacob,
yeah, but
there's
Jacob
already
changed it.
cyborgs.
Jacob changed it way too much, like to the point where Deus Ex is Deus Ex. It's a good game because of what it is. If you change core values of Deus Ex, if you add like a bit of horror to Portal 2, even a bit, I think it would add a lot of intensity to the puzzles. So.
But it would be nice to see the other side of
Oh, of course it was.
Deus
That's why
Ex,
it was. That was
the
why it was
point-
between
the
Kieran and
point
Jacob.
in Deus Ex is that a lot of humans are scared of cyborgs because cyborgs are really
Yeah, of
powerful.
course. That's
Joe,
what,
you lost. Fucking.
that's
No,
what,
I'm gonna argue for Deus Ex. I
I'm
think it's a
miffed.
better argument here.
But alright, I don't care that much actually.
Yeah, you were close, Jacob. It was just I feel like it would have changed
I
too
also
much of the
think
game.
Portal 2 thing's really weak.
Okay, right. The next one.
If you
is,
can't give it to me, you gotta give it to someone who.
the
I
most
agree with.
emotional death in gaming. And we're starting with Tim, the boss.
Big boss. Solid Snake. My
Big
boy.
boss then. Why is Big
No,
Boss? Why is
it'd be the boss from.
okay? Why is the boss dying the saddest video game death, Tim?
I think that the boss dying in Metal Gear Solid 3 is a really good way to sort of to bring an end towards the game because he spends the entire game talking to you, the narrative, the entire game talking to you about how Snake and Big Boss, what their relationship was, how Big Boss as a mentor had taught Snake everything he knew, taught him how to survive, how to fight, and then at the end of the game, she lies there and she gives up everything, just to have him ascend to take on the mantle of her role in the game. Almost comforting him whilst just forcing him to kill her.
Ooh, okay. Next we have Jacob with Lee Everett from
Yes.
The Walking Dead Season 1.
Surprise.
I can see what you mean, Kieran. The Walking Dead doesn't have a lot of video game to it. The one thing it had, fantastic narrative. You cared about the characters. You cared what happened to them. You played through the entire game, caring about them. And when Lee, in my playthrough at least, had to tell Clementine to shoot him, she's like 10. It's incredibly sad that something would have so a 10-year-old would have to go through what she had to go through, and how genuine he was about caring about Clem at that moment, but knowing what had to be done.
Okay.
Tear it
Joe,
up.
Is someone tearing up, dude?
Joe, Solid Snake in Metal Gear Solid 4.
Okay.
Wait, what?
By the point in the franchise where Solid Snake dies, he is raised up to be one of the most badass people. But the entire of Metal Gear Solid 4 is him combating disastrous health problems. He has nanobots in him that are making him age super fast. And then at the end of it, he sacrifices himself to stop his evil clone from essentially plunging the entire world into a war. And he does it to save all of the people that he loves. And then after that, like, the actual death itself is just horrifyingly sad. You yourself have to mash a button as hard as you can to try and get him out of the tunnel that he dies in, to try and crawl out. It's like you're there, you're in the struggle, and you have to yourself, like, no matter how real it is, you know he's gonna die every time. But every time, I always mash that button harder because I want him to get out of that tunnel. And the cutscene that follows is his best friend throughout the entire franchise talking to a child about Snake's death, and he says, "Listen, guy, Snake, he had a hard life. Tears every time. I cry every time."
Okay, and then finally we've got Kieran with Cortana from Halo 4, is it?
Halo 4, yes. Okay. You spent over 10 years with this duo, Master Chief and Cortana, fucking kicking ass aliens, and there's a real bond formed between them, and they go around and in the entirety of Halo 4, Cortana's dying. You can tell she's dying. She's reached her lifespan, and it kind of hurts. And then eventually, when she finally goes, all of the feels come through in what is a really good franchise.
Yeah.
Oh,
Okay.
Halo's good.
Right.
Yeah, Halo's
It kind of hurts. That was my favourite part.
it culminates. It's in
There's
that moment. It's real.
culmination.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You've been hearing about it, but in that moment, it's real.
Okay.
I'm gonna make your argument better for you.
Thanks, Joe.
Okay, here we go, boys. Who wants to start off?
I'll start.
Okay.
Right. Who cared about Cortana, Kieran? Who truly cared about Cortana? Who cared what happened to her?
Master Chief.
Master Chief. Did he show any sort of emotion when she died?
Yes.
It zoomed in on his helmet. That's all we got.
He's talking.
He never.
You can see his sullen reaction when he's talking to people after.
You see his helmet. That's what you see. You see, it zooms in on his helmet. He
Actually,
says some.
takes off his helmet at the end of the
He
game.
seems.
But we're not.
He's only for being
Yeah,
on
but you don't
legendary.
see that, and also
Only-
it's not relevant to the death. He doesn't even take it
Yeah.
off in memory of this person that he spent so much time with.
All of
He
this that
doesn't
he
break
goes
his
through,
routine.
he doesn't do anything. Nothing happens, and then he just carries on shooting the Prometheans. Protheans?
Prometheus. Okay, can I
That's why you're
add to
wrong.
that? Can I add
Go
to
on.
that?
Go
Is
on.
that why
I think you're wrong because both
Me?
Cortana and Master Chief themselves are blank slates for the player to work on. They have no character of their own. Master Chief's character is that he's like 10 feet tall and he can shoot a gun good. Cortana's character is that she can project a mini-map and she knows a lot. As an AI,
She got
it's
those
just
titties though.
they're the most generic trash characters that could ever be put into any form of digital, just anything. If they like showed their faces, all you would see was it'd be a grey polygon. And I think if they were actual characters, the death would have been sad. But the entire time I was
They
just
were
thinking,
actual characters. The voice actors
When-
did a fucking amazing job.
they not on that
She
scene.
had a voice
Honestly,
actor.
the guy who's voice acting Master Chief doesn't break tone once in the entire franchise. He doesn't ever change from monotonous, yeah, I'll do it, just kind of handyman attitude,
Well, I need a
not
weapon.
even any hint of individual thought in him. The entire franchise, it's just the same thing.
I'd like to trash on Metal Gear, but I played one Metal Gear game and then didn't like them, so I
Yeah.
can't.
Tim.
That's one of the reasons why Snake is a stronger protagonist, because he himself, by the end of Metal Gear Solid 4, has already broken from his path. He used to be just a spy working for people, but you know what he does? He changes his way because he has his own thought. He has an individual thought, and he doesn't agree with what other people are asking him to do. So he actually does something of his own accord. That's something that Master Chief will never do in any
Tim.
Halo game ever.
Well, in Halo
They're
5,
both in Metal Gear. Why was the boss's death more emotional than Solid Snake's death?
Because throughout the game, playing Metal Gear Solid 3, you're playing as Snake. You're getting into Snake's character. You're starting to feel how he would feel, react how he'd react, and then at the end, you've got the level of empathy with Snake that you're feeling how he was feeling at the death of his mentor, the person he's looked up to his entire life, the person he's wanted to aspire to be. Almost to the point where the bond they had was like mother and son. Their entire lives together has been her almost raising him to the point where he has to take over all of her duties, all of her
can I make a point?
responsibilities.
Oh, okay, I thought you were done.
I'm gonna disagree there, but Jacob can go first.
Jacob,
Well, I wasn't
Jacob
gonna talk
also
about Metal
finish off on Metal Gear first. Joe, why do you disagree? What's yours?
Okay,
Better than
I disagree with the entire concept of Snake taking up the mantle. The only thing he takes up after that is the title of the boss. He doesn't have his own, like, tutee. He isn't teaching anyone. He is a completely different person from the boss. And I think the only thing that he has to take up afterwards, the only thing that he is left with, is, you know, the title. And she gives him her gun, which just completely kind of takes away from the scene, because it's like, oh look, here's a new gun, let's just break the scene for another gameplay element. And the fact that before her death, the boss betrays the entire country, gets rid of everything that she has, which is then given to Snake essentially. Snake has already taken up her responsibilities and her title, and is spending this entire game fighting against her. She nukes Snake, essentially. Snake has to survive in the jungle, close range from a nuclear bomb that she sets off pointed at him. It's like they've gone through a lot and they've trained a lot, but that relationship ended when she completely betrays Snake. And Snake, I think, is wrong in ever forgiving her in that franchise. The personal drama is not. There's no personal bond left there. The personal drama has already exceeded that point.
Alrighty then. Jacob, you haven't really said much.
Prove me wrong.
Why is Lee the most emotional?
Prove me wrong.
Why is Lee the most emotional?
That's my argument. Prove me wrong.
Okay, I think Lily's death sucks because, one, there's no way to avoid it. In a game where it says in the loading screens that your choices matter and will affect how the game plays for you, no matter what happens, Lee dies. And it's just, it takes the personal experience away from it. You can't change how he dies, you can't change where he dies, you can't change who kills him, you can't change what he dies of. It's just
It's a metaphor.
Joe,
for the inevitability of death.
Joe, I just want to intervene there. You can actually choose how he dies. You can just leave him to turn
Yeah,
into
but
a
you can't
zombie.
choose. Like, he's still.
Not good
He's
enough
just
for
there.
you, is it?
It's not
He's
good
still
enough.
going to die in the same
In a game
place.
that constantly reassures you that your choices matter, your choices ultimately not mattering,
It's,
it just takes away from it.
Jacob, what do you have?
It's a metaphor for how inevitable Lee's death really was and how inevitable everything in that game really was because it's a zombie apocalypse.
You're a metaphor.
Anybody? Jacob, got anything to say about yours, or anybody else got anything to say about The Walking Dead before we
I
do
think I've
final
made
thoughts?
a.
It's
professional
difficult to fight with that one because it's a really good scene.
All right, and then final thoughts, Kieran.
Oh no, they kind of beat me.
Yeah, you were out. Tim.
Brutal.
No, I wrote on my notepad Halo 4 destroyed. Is what I put there. Tim.
Which I destroyed my Halo 4.
And
Is Tim even here? Tim?
Yeah.
Final thoughts, Tim.
I don't have any.
Okay. So that's actually a shame, Tim, because I was going to put you in the running, but not anymore. Okay, right. It's between Jacob and Joe then again. So.
Been killed.
What do you want to ask us, Dom?
I'm not sure
Easy
because
words.
Joe gave so much in his first argument, and then ripped down everybody else so effectively. I feel Jacob took everybody else down better than Joe, and he made more valid points than Joe about others. But he didn't really say as much as Joe about his own game.
I didn't need to.
Okay, and that is why Joe won.
Yeah. We could have like a rounding up.
My argument was too good.
No, I honestly, I think The Walking Dead.
Because no one could refute me.
sucks.
It's not about the choice, Jacob.
Yeah,
it's not about how good the choice
If
is.
it's not about the choice, then why did you make it sound like it was with the Bioshock one?
I didn't.
Alright, carry on.
Don't start arguing with Dom because it'll never end. I think you snagged up the best scene.
I would have put Tim in ahead of Jacob, but then Tim gave up in the thingy. But well, good job, Tim. Okay, right. And here's the final one of the actual rounds, the best cutscene in a game. And let's start with Tim with the StarCraft 2 cinematic.
You gonna edit these in?
Yeah, you might have to show them.
I can do.
Yeah,
Yeah.
should we all watch them at the same time as well?
Wait, what
No,
was this bit?
No, we don't have to watch them at the same time. We've all seen
I've
them.
seen them all.
Yeah.
Mhm.
The StarCraft
Which
2
bit was
cinematic,
this?
Tim. StarCraft 2.
I
cinematic.
haven't
What
seen.
about it?
What do you mean? What about it? You picked it as your choice.
For what?
The best cinematic.
Okay, that
Can
was
you
where I
pay
was going
attention
with
if you're
that.
gonna be here?
Just wanking off in the corner of them with them. Oh, no.
I'm Dark Souls, man.
Okay. Okay.
The StarCraft 2 opening cinematic, I would say is one of the best cinematics, and a lot of it has to go with standard Blizzard cinematics sort of laws. They're all really nice. Sort of, they're not made in game. They're pre-rendered videos of events that would have happened in the game. But in this one, it takes you to the Protoss homeworld race in StarCraft, and it puts you on the surface of this like destroyed barren world that they lost to an enemy that they'd been fighting for millennia, and it puts you there, and it shows you around this destroyed world, and all of a sudden there's these monsters coming out of almost seemingly nowhere, from under the ground, over the hills, and it looks at this band of warriors, surrounded and outnumbered, and then it takes you through what they'll do to take back their primal home world, and it explains to you how all of their feelings, they all feel each other's pain, each other's joy, and each other's feelings through this sort of psychic link they have with one another. A whole race yearning to return to their homeworld and take it back from these long hated enemies.
Okay. Jesus. Okay. We go on to Jacob with the new Alexandria intro from Halo Reach. Was it? Halo Reach, yeah.
Cool, pay attention.
I like it because it's very simple. It's not overly done. It doesn't need to be something that's visually impressive to get its point across. The point is that it shows you around New Alexandria. It lets you know what's going on without saying very much at all. It just There's a small piece of dialogue between Noble Six and Kara at the end of the cutscene. But I like the whole minute before because it shows Noble Six actually has character, unlike most of the other characters in the Halo franchise. And this fact that he doesn't talk that much at all, if at all. Well, he does a little bit. And I think that's really special because it just shows that Noble Team weren't just a usual squad of Marines. They were a squad. They were Spartans, and they were sent to Reach to save it. But they know that that's not really going to happen. They know that Reach is doomed from the start, but they keep fighting anyway because that's what they're told to do. That's what they're bred to do.
Okay. Joe, Archangel fight from Diablo 3.
Okay. You've already, by this point in Diablo 3, it happens a couple hours in, I think. It's been a while since I played it. It seems like there's this just random character that doesn't even deserve to be there. And he's just there, and you're following his orders, and you don't really know why, because he hasn't done much. But then this cutscene kicks in once he remembers what's happened to him, because obviously, video games, he's got amnesia. And from that point, this character that you already know, seeing that they are such a badass that you had no idea about it, and that he just looks like a shambling old man. It's like watching your dad get into a fight at McDonald's or something because a guy in line.
I never thought I would hear that Diablo 3 cutscene likened to your dad getting in a fight at McDonald's. But
then to be fair, you'd never expect your dad to be in a fight at McDonald's, would you, man?
Might have to go and grab food in a second.
Anyway, and it comes off of the back of a pretty. By that point, one of the main characters has just died, and you realise the link between all these people, and you see Tyrael, and he's very powerful, but he does get beaten up. He gets the crap beaten out of him. Your dad at McDonald's gets beaten up out of him. It's a low moment. It's a low moment. But you know what? You go home, he makes you hot chocolate, and he feels good. And then at the end of the game,
you sure this isn't repressed
Tyrael,
memories or?
Shut up. Tyrael comes back. He gets his armor back. He gets his sword back, and he basically helps you beat Diablo's ass. It's like you went to that guy's house who beat you up at McDonald's, and then you set a bag of poo on fire and you put it outside the door, and he steps on it, and he's got poo on his shoe now. Suck shit, dude. You have nothing on my dad.
Okay, I'm not gonna lie. I think you're going a bit off topic here, Joe. Okay, let's just stop Joe there.
Fucking God.
Okay, Kieran, rage intro.
Anyway.
Okay.
Yeah, Roy's a rage intro, the best cutscene.
No.
Tim, are you playing Dark Souls?
Yeah,
Of course
sorry.
he is.
Carry on. I'd walked into a room and just got shit the fuck up.
Okay.
Okay.
Wait.
What didn't you make?
I am not arguing that Rage is a good game. It's okay.
Well, thank God
It's
you're
not
not because
great.
you would have
It's
lost it
not
already.
okay.
Yeah.
Let's not. I mean,
It's alright. It's not great. But that fucking intro, every time I watch it, it just sends chills down my spine. Because the voice acting is good, the animation's good, and just the whole premise itself and the way it's all set down. There's like the final abort sequence to kind of save like the last remnants of humanity as they're dying, or well, they think they are dying to a meteor impact, and it's all set up beautifully. And it's just every time I watch it, it kind of sends me little chills down my spine. And I think it's just fucking amazing.
okay, so when you say every time you watch it, does that mean you bought the game?
Yes, I did. I did buy
Because
the
that
game.
enough is reason to dismiss your argument out of hand.
Oh, I
It's
had a
not
really good
about
one,
the
actually.
game, it's about the right. Who wants to go
should've
first?
picked
It also means he played the game multiple times, which is just as bad.
Well, sometimes I actually just watch the cutscene on its own. But
Who wants to go
Okay,
first
yeah.
then?
I mean, that's worse, Kieran, man.
I'll go first against Jacob's point because again, Halo sucks ass. The fact that he said that the fact that Noble doesn't talk is a way of showing that he has character and showing that he has emotion, but
I think I'm gonna.
it's the exact opposite of that, and it's present throughout the
No,
entire
it's
Halo
because
series.
he's fucking showing the fucking hopelessness of that entire situation, and now he's never going to win.
Yeah, and you can
There's
really
like no
tell
winning,
that.
and
You
you
can
can
really
see, and
tell
you can
that
see
from
from
the
the way he's
emotion
sitting, the way he's
portrayed on his-
reacting, and like the whole hopelessness and the futility of the whole
The
situation.
movement of
Okay.
characters really says a
Yeah.
lot about what's
Oh yeah, the
going on.
movement. He stands up.
Yes.
He stands up. He gets his gun.
Have you
and he
watched
puts
it?
it on his back. I
Have you
was watching it while he's talked about it. The emotion that is portrayed is entirely lost when you realize that you are staring at a faceless, voiceless, brown-suited
Not voiceless,
dude.
he
Just get
does
me
say
wrong.
stuff.
Just if you forgive me if I'm wrong, but didn't they just blow up the massive ship in orbit, and they
Yes,
just
and,
sacrificed
Somebody
one
just
of like
died.
somebody just died, like, a really good character, and the guy who was pretty close.
Believe it was George.
Yeah, it was a big bulky guy. He
Yeah, I
just
believe it
died,
was George.
and he just got back and to try and save and get people out of the city.
3 years.
And you know what would have been better? If they'd mourned for a single second before going on the next
Because
mission,
and do you know
or if
why
had
they
any
couldn't mourn for a
tonal-
single second? Because they didn't have a second.
They didn't
to
have a
mourn.
second to spare.
Because
the entire
the
planet was
situation was so
But the
bad. They had
game
to save as
pretends
many
that
people
they
as possible.
The game
And the
pretends
futility
that
of
they
it.
do, though.
No,
It
it
just,
doesn't. No, the
because
entire game
it
is about
tries
them
to
trying
have-
to save as many people as possible in a hopeless situation.
yeah, but it tries to have downtime, and you get like the 30 seconds that there is of silence in the cutscene, and then right after that, you go right back to just shooting at aliens,
You
and
don't have-
everyone's like, haha, yeah, blow up
Just-
aliens,
Not
you
like,
suck.
they're not like haha yeah. They're not happy. They're not cheerful.
Yeah.
They're doing what they need to.
They,
Save people,
you know,
and
they
that's-
they have their own little quips in the gameplay, and they all say their fun little lines
they
where
don't.
they blow
Not
people
in
up.
not in
Okay,
Reach,
okay.
not in Reach,
Right.
not in Reach. Reach was
Talk to
different.
enough about Alexandria. What about Archangel fighting Diablo 3? Why is yours better than that? Somebody.
I just think there's more weight behind it. Honestly, it's more visually impressive. It's more relevant to the plot. Like, I know it's relevant to the plot in the fact that it introduces the level and shows you what's going on, but it describes a character that you don't really know much about, and it shows you what they can do, what they're probably ending up going to do, and it shows you what you're fighting for overall.
Okay. I'm guessing Tim doesn't have anything to add, even though his starting argument was really good. Because he's playing Dark Souls.
Actually, no. In Joe's point of the it's more visually impressive. I mean, again,
It's cheating with Blizzard.
well, yeah. I mean, it's also I could use the exact same point, but really,
you
there's-
should,
Well,
because that's one of the only things that your cutscene has going for it.
Ooh.
oh, the savagery. While I do really like the Diablo cutscene, it feels like really they didn't do as much as they could. Like they show how Tyrael sacrificed his place among these great angels of justice, and gives a whole speech of how he feels that their laws don't just don't, to take his term, bind them to inaction. But in the StarCraft cutscene, I think they portray a lot more the emotions of the people in it. I mean, in the cutscene, two of the Protoss in the cutscene, they get cornered. He goes to his friend, he helps him up, and they agree without an unspoken bond as they fuse themselves into one being, and then they sacrifice themselves just to buy the remaining warriors, the remaining friends, enough time to build this structure that would allow them to bring in their armies from orbit, just to allow their brothers in arms, their families, to have a chance to take back the home world they lost so long ago. All of the actions they've done since that time, just to bring them closer to claiming back their home.
I have a similar problem.
From exile.
I have a similar problem with that cutscene as I do with the one in Reach. There's emotion that's meant to be portrayed, but I find it difficult to see that it's not projection when the characters involved don't, like in the StarCraft cutscene. I don't even know if
How
they have
could you
mouths because they're
possibly-
completely covered up,
How can you
and their eyes are
possibly
always angry.
project onto aliens? Jesus.
The
You
difference,
can.
I believe,
It's easy. It's
the
the
di-
same way that people project onto their pets.
the
It's like
the
there's
difference,
no
I
words
think, is that
spoken, and there's nothing
Diablo
really
was
conveyed by
not-
the characters.
Diablo wasn't going for. Sorry, not Diablo. StarCraft wasn't going for subtlety, whereas Halo
Yeah,
was.
Halo Reach was, yeah.
I believe it's more. It's not fair to compare those two things when they're
Okay.
going for two completely
Jacob.
different things.
So you haven't really said much about yours, so say
Have I not?
not really.
He
no.
has defended it pretty well.
You defended it pretty well, but I want to hear something solo because you did have Kieran on your side as well.
There's not really much more to say about it because it's so subtle in what it does. It's a metaphor for the rest of the game, which I quite like symbolic representations of things in games. I like not being told everything to my face. I like having to guess and figure things out from the way characters move, the way characters speak, and what's actually going on. And I think because of the way that it shows the destruction of New Alexandria, it shows how Reach is literally falling apart because of the Covenant onslaught,
Okay.
and now there's not much they can do about it.
We'll have that as your final thought. Joe, what's your final thought? Why is yours better than?
Mainly because it seems to match the tone of the rest of the game better than any of the other cutscenes do, and I think it spends more of its time describing things that are important to the game rather than showcasing more. But it doesn't sacrifice the visual spectacle in doing that.
Okay then. Kieran?
It's a really, really good way to introduce what is, I will agree, a mediocre game, but it does it pretty flawlessly. And I imagine you put that in front of a much, much better game. It's just every time I watch it, it's just something special. I do like those end of world scenarios and the hopeless, in the desperate kind of last light to try and save a bit of humanity when all hope is lost. And it showcases that perfectly in like the human endeavor to live.
Okay. Tim?
I think that the very fact that it gives you a visual representation of how each Protoss mind is linked, their emotions, they feel what each other are. They're never alone. It shows they're never alone. They're always willing to give up their lives for each other, and it's shown in the thing where several of the Protoss warriors they effectively throw themselves onto. Metaphorically, they throw themselves onto a hand grenade in order to save those around them. It shows their willingness to give everything, to die with their honor.
Okay, right. I'll be honest, Kieran, you helped Jacob more than you helped yourself in that one.
So I like Jacob's more.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay, so you're out of that one. Joe, quite a lot of the things that you said you liked about yours, you also said you disliked about Tim's and others, so you were being pretty...
Give an example of that.
Hypocritical, yeah.
Give an example of that.
Does anyone else remember it, just to make sure I'm not going insane here?
Yeah, he kept saying how it didn't sacrifice visual kind of clarity for to let people know what's going on, which Tim's does as well.
Yeah, and I think you did a good job of taking people down, Joe, but you didn't really defend your own that well. Jacob
took one of my favourite cutscenes out of one of my favourite franchises.
Jacob, your argument was really good. I like the subtlety of it. Straight to the point. Kieran helped you a lot, but Kieran's points that you also picked up on were really good. So it's between you and Tim, because Tim, I'll be honest, Tim's opening argument was the best out of everyone's. He didn't really defend. He didn't really take down anybody else's. He did a good job at getting at Joe's.
I feel like, Joe, what you missed from your cutscene also, just like that, was how you have to put yourself in Tyrell's shoes. He's sat there, he's frustrated, he's trying to do what he thinks is right. Everything he wants, everything he's so frustrated about is he knows in his heart what's right, what he wants to do, but everything about where he is and who he is just restricts him from being able to do what he wants. He wants to go and help the innocent people. He feels that's the right thing to do, and as a result, he effectively turns the back on people he's known all of his life, people he's fought with, people he's bled with, people he has relationships with, and he casts them all away.
You know what, Tim?
And gives all of that up
that
just
was absolutely beautiful.
so that he can help and stand up for what he thinks is right.
Yeah.
I played Diablo 3 completely muted, so I wouldn't really know.
Yeah, there we go. Okay. So Kieran and Joe are out of this one.
Yeah. Tim did a good job there.
Tim did an absolutely brilliant job at the end.
Honestly, Tim, if you'd had the Diablo 3 cutscene, you probably would have just...
Jacob gave quite a good... This one's really, really hard, because they both gave really good points, and they're both... doesn't matter, but they're both brilliant cutscenes. But I feel that Tim gave more depth to... He was saying, like, the sacrifice themselves and everything, and he actually described, like, more of why it was impactful to the rest of the game and the influence of it and everything.
Well, alright, whatever.
I disagree with that. I think Jacob did a better job of explaining why it was impactful to the rest
Jacob
of the game.
just kind of said that it
fit
was
with the mood.
Jacob
But I think
just,
Tim did a better job of actually describing
Tim did a much
the
better
scene
job.
itself and its effect on its own on its own as
Well,
a
Tim
scene.
often described what happened during the cutscene, whereas
Yeah.
there wasn't really much that did take place during their one in Reach because
That's the
subtlety
entire
was
point
the
of it
aim.
was the subtlety. Yeah.
I did just miss the last
I'll be back in
6 or
one
7
moment.
few-
Don't.
the last few minutes of conversation because my headset
I do
just
I
died.
do understand the sort of the here. Seeing as though Joe, you're
What was my-
already Joe, you're
did I
already
have-
through to the final.
did I have
Um,
negative
I'm
points on that?
gonna ask for your assistance here because I'm leaning towards Tim. I think Tim's opening argument straight away was the best, and he also went strong all the way through.
Jacob.
I personally would side with Jacob. I am a little bit biased because I haven't played StarCraft 2.
It's
but
not
I
about
think-
the game. It's about the argument. and
Yeah,
think
but
Tim got
I
it
don't
wrong.
The
really
feel
have
of
any of
the
the
game-
emotional connection.
Kieran
connected with it.
Jacob also got most of his good points from Kieran.
Yeah, that was a bit of a weaker part, but I think overall the argument was better made towards the cutscene because a lot of what Tim did, in my opinion, was kind of. I think
It was a
wasn't
typical
really lent
cutscene,
to the
the
cutscene
Alexandria
itself. I think
cutscene
it was
was
lent
no
to
way a
what Tim
typical
thought
cutscene.
about it, because like you can tell that from the way he did it, like play by play. He
Wasn't
described
just
what
a
happened in the
cutscene,
cutscene and what it
It's
is
not-
in the cutscene, explaining the lore behind it. But I think
Apologies, I have returned.
overall, the argument was better for the Reach one. But that's just
What I think you're not getting is it's not just like a cutscene or anything. It outlines, it opens the whole game.
Yeah, that's
Up
what
until that point-
that's what
Similarly-
Until that
the
point,
Reach
you
cutscene.
don't know anything. It puts in perspective everything that they.
Yeah, you said that
are
before,
doing
Tim,
in
and
the
that's what I
whole
like.
game.
That's what I like.
It lines everything up. It tells you they're there. It outlines everything. They're there. It's their old homeworld. It tells you what they're there to do, how they feel about it. It tells you that it's all about them reclaiming their legacy almost.
But I
Everything
think
they've lost, everything they fought for, it comes down to that moment.
I
Right
think
there.
the hopeless tone of it all is that it's
You know
there
what?
in
No,
Staunch
Tim had a
Defiance.
chance to say that. Jacob, Tim had about 15 seconds there, just so I can make up my mind. Give me 15 seconds. Just
Otherwise, yours is
again.
better than Tim's.
Me?
Yeah, just
Yeah.
give me 15 seconds because Tim just had like 20 seconds extra.
No, it's fine. I don't need it anymore. I've said everything I need to say. I don't need to repeat myself.
Did you just kind of disqualify yourself from the final round there?
Well, there's not much room. There's not much more I can say. So
Just round it up. Round it up.
I've already rounded. Okay.
Just round it up again.
Well, hang on. Tyler wants to start playing. In conclusion, it outlines the entire game in a minute and 44 seconds. It outlines exactly what's happening. You can take a lot from it when it says very little. And I've said that before. There's not much more I can say. So that's. You get the
I
idea.
feel because you've explained, like, it's not Tim's fault, but he doesn't have as much complexity and depth, but you've gone into it and you've looked into it a lot more, and you gave a lot more reasons why it's impactful. Tim just said it's impactful instead of going into it. This is the hardest one so far, but even though Kieran did help a lot with Jacob's, I'm going to have to go for Jacob for that one.
Okay. So now it's
I
speed
did-
round,
I
Tim-
right?
hate you and everything you stand
Tim,
for.
Tim, without memeing, Tim, with memes aside, you could have won at least 3 of these, but you just gave up halfway through.
Honestly,
Yeah.
Dom, wasn't really that passionate about any of the ones I picked before this.
No,
Yeah.
but you could have. You were close on the Metal Gear 2 one, and
Three.
this one,
Mogus
The
3.
one for boss.
and the boss.
You know what, Dom? I AFK.
No, Tim, you need to help
Honestly, Dom, I was
Mhm.
gonna pick a different one last night, and literally midway through sentence Jacob was there. You just left the Discord and you just went off.
Yeah.
I was gonna go to the whole.
me. No, I'll be perfect. I'll
There
be
was
perfectly honest, Tim.
backwards.
If you would have like put more effort into your argues back, you would have gone through straight away with Joe. But your arguments were really good. You just, yeah, it's a shame.
You gave up on the movie.
Yeah, you gave up on it. But that was the hardest one so far because you actually, I think you actually really like that cinematic, don't you? The StarCraft 2 one, you can tell.
Yeah, you can.
Yeah, you can tell.
from the
Yeah,
noise.
you can tell you really like that one. So that means that in the speed round is Jacob and Kieran.
Is it?
Yep.
Joe won like 3.
No, Joe won. No, Kieran won 1, you won 1, and Joe won the rest. So it's you and Kieran to go against Joe in the final.
Oh, okay, what we doing?
Okay.
Right, I'm gonna put 2 games.
Why?
Do I get
In-
to fade into the background now?
No, you're gonna have to help me. Pick
Yeah,
which
you have
one.
to help George.
How do I? Okay.
Okay, right.
Okay, yeah, I can do that.
Okay, right. I'm gonna copy and paste 2 games into the Skype call. The first one to say the game that they would buy and play over the other one gets the game and has to defend the game. Okay?
Wait, what?
Okay.
I mean, I don't even understand that. Carry on.
Okay, basically, I put 2 games in. Whoever says the name of the game that they want to defend first gets that game. The other person gets the leftover one. Then they'll have 20 seconds to say why they would play that game, and then 10-second rebuttal. So,
Okay, maybe we give them a minute to prepare their arguments.
are you ready?
Dom?
Yeah.
No, we've been off the cuff the rest of this time. They'll
Dom?
be right. Doing
Yeah.
off the cuff.
Okay, fine.
Jake, you ready?
I struggle talking on the spot.
I'm always ready.
Yeah,
Oh,
that's alright.
okay.
3, 2, 1.
No, No Man's Sky.
Jacob, you're left with Duke Nukem Forever.
You're an awful person, Dom.
This is actually
This is
a
actually
funny
a
twist,
fucking
'cause
horrible.
Jacob
horrible.
played through
Okay.
Duke Nukem Forever
Kieran-
and said it wasn't as bad as everyone said it
Kieran,
was.
you have 20 seconds to tell me why No Man's Sky is better than Duke Nukem Forever.
First of all, Duke Nukem Forever made people physically sick.
Me.
Made people actually physically sick. So, and fucking hell, that was a fucking terrible game. And the only reason people think No Man's Sky is a terrible fucking game is because Jesus Christ was that game hyped to all shit, hyped beyond than it should have ever been hyped. In reality, no, it's not that great of a game, but it's an okay game.
Okay, Kieran,
that if
you've got like finish off quickly.
Basically, Duke Nukem Forever makes people fucking physically sick. It's terrible story, terrible fucking mechanics.
Okay,
whereas
that's
No
it,
Man's
no,
Kieran,
okay,
okay, that'll do.
Yeah, that'll do. I'll give Jacob like 5 extra seconds as well. Jacob, why is Duke Nukem Forever better than No Man's Sky?
After 13 years-ish of development, it created one of the greatest first-person shooters of our generation. Absolutely fantastic referential humor. One of the most
You're not allowed
iconic.
to lie,
One-
dude.
shut up! Shut up! One of the most iconic characters in video game history. One of the icons of the 90s for PC gamers around the world. Opens up with one of the best turret sections I've ever seen. Aliens all over the place. References all over.
lying.
It's absolutely
Okay, you're done.
Most
Okay,
versatile
Jacob,
level-
that's it, you're done. Okay, right. Kieran,
I'm just
you
gonna
have,
wait.
Kieran,
After though for this, I'm just gonna go ahead and paste this in chat, and this is my opinion.
Kieran, you have 10 seconds to rebuttal that. Tell me why
Oh,
he's
what
wrong.
let me send it.
Fucking shit was that, lies? What? It's a fucking terrible game. Like, fucking 20, 15 years in the waiting for that piece of shit. Of
Okay.
course it was fucking
There you go. Jacob,
ruined the character from great.
Jacob, 10-second rebuttal.
Oh, I have a
No
rebuttal here.
Man's Sky, the developer Sean Murray consistently lied about the development of that game instead of being really upfront, like they were with Duke Nukem Forever, which they admitted was in development for far too long.
Okay,
And
then
it's-
stop.
Yeah.
Okay, right. Jacob, you went the right way on that second argument, but you just you just satired the first part of that to the point where it didn't really have any value to it. But if you
I
would've-
have.
if you would have done the second part the same as you did, I mean, if you'd done the first part the same you did the second part, because you made really good points in the second part, I would have given you that one because Kieran's argument was awful, plainly. But because he did more than you, I'm gonna have to give it to Kieran.
No, we have to all weigh in on it though.
Oh yeah, okay.
I think what
Well,
Jacob did.
Stop with that fucking copy pasta.
I think what Jacob did was a lot more clever because it was a metaphor for what Sean
Oh,
Murray did before the
fuck
launch of
off.
No Man's Sky.
I'll
Fuck.
tell you.
That's what I
I'll
What
tell you
did,
what I was
Sean,
actually
what did
doing.
Sean Murray do? I don't actually know because I didn't follow.
Lied.
that
He
really.
lied.
Oh, did he lie?
Tim,
Yeah.
Didn't just overhype it, just straight up lie.
Tim,
Tim,
what's your
stop
opinion on the
praising the
argument?
B movies.
The game was still over.
What's your game?
Stop.
Tim, who do you
Copying
think did
in the-
better out of that?
What's your thought, Tim, of the argument?
I think Kieran spent a lot of his argument just trying to destroy Duke Nukem by saying, "Oh man, it made people physically sick," but he didn't actually go into any of the points of the game that were bad.
Okay, I've never
Other
played.
than that.
I have played neither.
I
of
mean,
these
it was a
games.
very weak argument, and then all he gave in defense of his game was, "Man, it was just overhyped." When really there were a lot of issues with No Man's Sky. I mean, the entire lead up to the game, it gave you the impression, man, you'd be able to fly around with your friends, that you'd be able to interact with people, and really, there was never any intention for that to happen because there isn't even multiplayer in the game.
You see, that's what I said. Kieran's argument was absolutely shit. But
He didn't
if
even
I
defend
may-
your game.
I
All you
didn't
did is
play.
try to
I haven't
rip the
played or
shit
even
out of the
followed
fact that Duke
either of the
Nukem
games.
Made
If-
someone sick. That's
If
it.
I may,
Mhm.
Go on, Jacob.
everything I said could be
You-
interpreted as completely true. I didn't lie about anything at all in
Well,
that statement.
if we take it,
Everything I said was
if we take it in that sense, Jacob, would everyone agree here that Jacob won that round?
I mean, to be fair,
I
Duke
mean,
Nukem
yes,
does have one of the
but
best
again-
turret sequences ever.
Again, only in the fact that Kieran's argument was
Yeah.
it makes you physically sick, and that my game was overhyped.
Kieran, you
That's
didn't
why it was
say.
bad.
You didn't say why your game was good.
Because it
I
wasn't
mean,
good.
as far as we can,
You
did- yeah,
as
but
far as
Jake-
to
at
say
least
that both
Jake-
arguments were abysmal.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
the idea was to say, why would you play that game over the one? So you even little good points, like Jacob said, it's the most iconic game character ever. Got all these pop culture references. Even though they were all awful, he still put them
Yeah.
across. So I'm putting Jacob for on this one. Everyone agree?
Yeah, he actually gave points to defend his game.
To be
Okay.
fair, you did give Kieran No Man's Sky, which is a
He
characteristic.
picked No
Allegedly
Man's
picked
Sky.
it.
I haven't.
Kieran
I don't know anything about
He
Duke Nukem
picked
Forever, apart
No
from
Man's
that it was
Sky.
literally made Dom sick. I've never
I
played
wanted
it.
to challenge myself.
Okay, right.
I mean, that's a good point on its own. It makes
So
Dom
this
sick.
is right. This is the
Fantastic.
final question in the final round. Actually, no. Okay, right. So you're Jacob. You are now on 2 points, and Big Joe is on 3. Is he?
Hey.
You're on 3, aren't you? Yeah, you're on 3.
Final round is worth double points. There you go.
Final round is worth double points. There you go. Okay.
Points each for whoever wins, by the way.
Okay.
All the other rounds are irrelevant.
I'm going to give you
Yeah.
10 seconds to think about this. Most badass character in a video game. Don't say straight away. 10 seconds. And
10
then
seconds.
10 seconds, and then tell me. Both say both say it in 10 seconds, so just in case you get the same person.
Hmm. When's the 10 seconds?
Long 10
No.
seconds.
No. Who?
Jacob.
Jacob.
What?
Who?
What?
My headphones turned off.
Who?
Who's participating?
What's my
My
point?
headphones turned off. I was gonna say, but my headphones
What is the,
turned
what,
off.
what is the most badass character in a video game? That's the final
Yeah, I
question.
know. I know.
Is it my
I've got mine. Are we gonna say them at the same time?
Yeah.
Doom guy. Jacob,
Oh, wait, what?
are we saying the most
What the
badass
fuck are you
character
doing?
in video games?
I don't know. You haven't explained this at all.
But I'm asking you a fucking question. It's not difficult.
Never said Jacob. I can answer the question. Well, my answer is Barry B. Benson.
Oh,
He's not a video game character, Jacob.
actually,
There
there
was a
is a
B-movie
game.
video game, PlayStation 2.
There was a B-movie video game.
Well,
Yeah,
okay, let's go with
okay.
this. Let's go with
He's
this
not.
one then.
He's not wrong.
Let's
There,
go, let's go with
He's
this
got
one
you
then.
there.
Joe,
Okay.
How to trigger Dom.
Joe, 20 seconds. Why is Doom Guy the most badass video game character?
Look for some footage of this.
Okay.
I need to
Doom
stand up for
guy
this.
is so badass that at one point he dies specifically so that he can go to hell and keep killing the demons which invaded Earth. In the new Doom, the game starts where he is forcefully pulled out of hell, where he was almost running out of demons left to kill, so that he can kill the demons that he kind of let out on Mars himself for the purpose of killing them. He does nothing but kill demons, and he is just the personal
Okay,
embodiment
okay.
of anger.
Jacob, why is Barry
Don't
B. Benson?
interrupt me, right?
Okay, right. Why is Barry B. Benson the most
According
badass
to
character?
all known laws of aviation, there is no way a bee should be able to fly. And yet, Barry B. Benson foregoes that. This man, this bee, has intimate relationship with a human female. Is the first ever bee to talk to a human. Single-handedly halted the population of honey
Okay, that's
human race.
that's your first. Okay,
Okay, I
Joe.
vote we give it to Jacob.
no, Joe.
Yeah,
you need,
Jacob,
Joe,
Jacob.
Joe,
Jacob
Joe,
wins.
Joe, you need to rebuttal Jacob's Barry B. Benson. 10 seconds.
Joe, can you though? Can you?
Alright. Not only
Can Doom Guy
does
fly?
Doom Guy one up Barry B. Benson, who sued the entire human race by killing the entire human race that is already dead again, he also is actually a badass and could squash Barry B. Benson with his thumb.
Oof. Okay, Jacob. 10 seconds.
Its wings are too small to get that little body off the ground. Does Doom Guy have wings?
Okay, right.
Fucking Mike.
Okay, right.
Jesus Christ!
Right. Seeing as though this is supposed to be a semi-professional podcast, I appreciate the meme, Jacob, and I appreciate that is probably one of the best. That is one of the best arguments I have ever heard in my life. You've also introduced me to the fact that there's a
Joe
B-movie game.
concede.
There's a B-movie game.
Joe, do the right thing and concede.
I'm not.
I
if he,
withdraw
if he, no,
entirely.
There we go.
no,
Jacob is the
wins.
winner.
no.
No? Am I not allowed?
No, you're not allowed to. I'm sorry. If genuinely, I would give you the win, Jacob.
Objection.
But you didn't actually tell me how he was
I
more.
don't need your pity.
You didn't tell me how much more of a badass he was, apart from the fact that he could fly. And
Doomguy
Yeah,
doesn't
that's a
have.
pretty big
By
point.
all
that.
laws of aviation, Dom.
Doomguy does have a jetpack.
Doomguy did.
You ever tried to shoot a bee?
Okay, right, Joe wins. Joe
No,
wins. Joe wins.
Dom,
Joe wins.
It's like that film, Dom, where they
Actually,
down
no,
and it's
right.
gonna kill them and then,
No,
they don't
no,
die.
I'm not having
It's
the
like
end. No,
Dom. It's like Independence Day when
No.
they.
Honestly, after the B movie meme, I can't.
I can't. Yeah, I
honestly
can't.
say that I was the winner of this debate.
no, right. Anyway, that was something.
There's no winner.
That was a
I'm
stunning
not
episode,
gonna.
let's not lie.
I'm not gonna put a title on that. That wasn't game fights. That was something. It was a recording.
Just call it. Hey, you know what it could be? It could be called game fights, and you know what happens in a fight? There's no winner in a fight, guys.